So, all right, welcome to our January technical seminar, slightly rescheduled. We were going to say Happy New Year for the first one, but I guess today we get to say Happy Lunar New Year. Still tied to the new year. But we have a really, I think, a great topic today, and really appreciative of the local FIRST organization to join us today. And talk about the FIRST robotics programs. I kind of titled this for Louisiana students, but I know April's going to discuss FIRST robotics in general. And the real idea here is, ISA is an alliance partner with FIRST. It's actually on the FIRST website. If you go under their supporters section under alliances, ISA National Society is a big partner with the FIRST organization. And I've done my time as a coach a couple years ago and had a lot of time. I had a lot of fun doing that. And so anyway, I just thought this community, if they weren't aware of the program, should really be aware of it, and hopefully maybe even get involved a little bit and volunteer in some way. So, oops, typo right off the bat there. Upcoming evens and odds, I suppose. So next week we have our actual February technical seminar. So we're going to do a double header this week and next week. Next week will be on leveraging IIoT, or Industrial Internet of Things sensors, to create insightful dashboards. And our guest speaker will be Tony Trim with the Eaton Corporation. So that should be a pretty good session as well. Nothing else scheduled past that. So we're always looking for topics. We will come up with topics, of course, and fill in, but if anybody's got any suggestions, as always, we'd love to hear your comments and feedback on topics. And just a kind of recurring thank you and reminder of all of our board members who volunteer a little extra time to help out. Just like to acknowledge everybody who does that. And also kind of welcome Alex Smith with Valero. He's offered to join the board. We haven't actually officially made him a board member yet, but we'll announce him today as a volunteer for the board. Technically, we just have to do the paperwork and add him as a board member. We've just been negligent in that, but welcome aboard, Alex. We'll get you involved here pretty soon. And another reminder on just how to stay up to date with us. We have the ISA New Orleans section's website. That's isaneworleans.org. Also ISA Connect, if you haven't really been involved in, kind of going into the Connect site, it's used for keeping up with events, as well as just kind of a way to kind of communicate with your peers all throughout the ISA community. Also LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. And with that, we'll turn over to April Gatos with the FIRST Louisiana, Mississippi. And I will let her take the screen here. On here's the actual alliance partner. I had that screen up in the background, but there we are listed right there. So I'm gonna do a stop share and let April take over from here.
All right. Good morning, everybody. All right, now I guess it's afternoon now.
Yes, it's right. Yeah, we're right at that awkward period, but yes, afternoon.
Yes. Perfect.
Good. Yep.
Okay.
We got
Here
yours.
we go. Awesome. Do y'all still have the presentation slide?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. So, guys, my name is April Gatos, and it just might get a little confused. I'm in the process of changing my name. I just got married recently, so if I switch back and forth, it's because I'm getting used to it. So you might see a little discrepancy in my contact information as we go through. But yeah, today we were presenting on FIRST Robotics in Louisiana. And so what we're going to cover today is what is FIRST. So if you've never heard of it before, we're going to go into that. And then I'm going to tell my story. I've been involved in FIRST since I was in the 4th grade. So it kind of carried me through my elementary, middle, junior, high school days, all through college, and now into my career. So we'll really talk through kind of that path, what that looks like, and how FIRST can really make an impact on you and in your career, and what your involvement might be if you decide to be a mentor or volunteer at these events, how that can, impact future generations and our future employees that we have at our companies. And feel free to stop me at any time if you have any questions. can be very informal. Awesome. So then starting right off the back, what is FIRST? If you've never heard of it before, it's an acronym that stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. This is an international robotics program that covers the age groups of K through 12. So you'll see this banner at the top. These are the 4 different programs that we have in the FIRST robotics community. FIRST Lego League Junior is going to be for your younger kindergarten age students up until about 2nd or 3rd grade, and then it progresses through FIRST Lego League, which is your 4th through 8th grade. FIRST Technical Challenge is your high school, and FIRST Robotics Competition is also a high school group. As you can progress through each program as you go through school. You could just start with one of them, and then that's it. It really doesn't matter. It's very flexible, especially being a student or being a mentor. The flexibility across the board of how you can just plug in at any time is one of the really great benefits of the organization. A lot of the things you'll hear when you're talking about FIRST is that it's more than just robots. So we talk a lot about STEM, we talk a lot about automation and the technical side, but it's really more than that, and how it can really impact you on a soft skills level and really impacts you personally, socially, and professionally. And we'll get into the details. But I have this video here that I'd really like to share with you guys that I think summarizes the program extremely well. And it also shows you a little bit of the snapshot of what our competitions look like. I don't know if anybody is an LSU football fan, but I'm not exaggerating when I say that the competitions have the same energy level as a Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. They just bring that level of energy and excitement to something that a lot of people might, be shied away from because it's STEM or robotics. So it's a very exciting program. All right.
FIRST was founded in 1989 by Dean Kamen.
Sound?
As an inventor, he realizes that he can impact so many people with his inventions. But the way to have the biggest impact is to create a whole generation of new inventors. Through hands-on, engaging robotics challenges, FIRST ignites passion in STEM for kids ages 6 through 18. There's 4 worldwide programs where the kids dive deep into a problem and help invent a solution.
Once you get the challenge, you figure out your game plan.
You make a robot and you code on it. When it works, I'm very happy because we worked really hard.
Throughout each of our programs, teams embrace FIRST core values.
Discovery, innovation,
impact,
Inclusion.
teamwork.
fun.
At face value, FIRST is a robot competition, but at the end of the day, it's so much more than that.
We learn a lot about leadership, how to communicate with others,
Problem solving.
Working together, helping other teams. You have mentors that are actually in the field that can tell you, oh, this is why this works, and this is the science behind it. And you're like, oh, wow, that makes so much sense.
Our mentors teach us not just about STEM, but about life.
They always flip the question around and ask me, where would you find the answer to that question if I weren't here? They slowly built my confidence up so much more.
I think it's incredibly important for youth to see careers in science and engineering as a possibility for them.
Being in FIRST, I realized I am smart enough to do this. It doesn't matter what background you come from.
FIRST actually taught me that I'm capable of doing anything that I set my mind to.
It definitely made me look at other challenges and be like, hey, I want to try that.
I know that I can do it now.
There's nothing better than seeing your robot on the field playing for the first time. You're all there like, is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? And then when it works, it's the best feeling ever.
Even though we're competing against other teams, one thing that we really focus on is cooperation, which where every single team who we're competing against, we're also working together.
It's very competitive, but you're friends with the people that you're going against. It's like a sport, but in its own way, it's better than a sport.
I think FIRST in general really has helped me become more involved in my local community.
Back in my old elementary school, I'm trying to help their robotics program. If you start them off young, their possibilities are endless.
As a participant in the first program in high school, you get access to $80 million worth of scholarships.
There are scholarships for colleges, universities, as well as technical programs.
FIRST really develops a pipeline where there's jobs, there's careers, there's opportunities for every one of these kids based on the skills and the experiences they develop in these programs.
And FIRST, every student can go pro. It's a really cool way to step into your future.
FIRST completely changed my life. It can really prepare you to solve any number of the world's big problems because they're going to teach you these applied skills around people, science, and how the two come together.
The future is technology, and I feel like robotics takes a big role, and I'm just really happy about being part of it.
I am FIRST.
Yo soy FIRST.
I am FIRST.
I am FIRST.
Awesome. Any questions so far? Okay. Moving forward. So just a little bit about me and how I got plugged into FIRST. So I've been born and raised here in Louisiana. I graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering at LSU back in 2019. I'm currently a project manager at Interlocks in New Orleans. And back in high school, I was on FIRST Robotics competition team 2080 in Hammond, Louisiana. So kicking off really my story here, my involvement with FIRST is I grew up around FIRST. My mom was a FIRST mentor growing up. My whole family was in it, but I didn't really get involved until I was in high school. And I started my freshman year of high school on the robotics team, and I was adamantly against participating. It was something that I didn't think it was for me. I didn't think it fit my personality or anything like that. And I was very, very wrong on that. So I got sucked in quite quickly, became a team captain. And my first year, I became a captain of a subsystem lead and really just kind of took off with getting super involved in working on those technical skills. And so that kind of kicks you off on the path of where can FIRST take you. So if it weren't for that involvement, if it weren't for me getting, having great mentors and getting really sucked into the FIRST message, I wouldn't have pursued mechanical engineering degree. That would just not even something, I don't think even knew what engineering was before FIRST. It really opened my eyes to the world of STEM. I always loved math and science, but that just wasn't even a career that I was familiar with. So that was something that really opened my eyes to when you're going to these competitions and you're working with these mentors that are coming in from all these different companies that have these engineering backgrounds. You're being exposed at a very young age to all of the opportunities that this can lead you to. So that's number one. Where can FIRST take you? It can take you to college. It can take you to getting an engineering degree. It really can take you to wherever you want to go. It sets you up for that success. And through that, I actually found my job at Interlocks through FIRST. So Interlocks is a huge sponsor and supporter of FIRST Robotics. They provide mentors and funding to the teams here in Louisiana. And I learned about the company by attending one of the competitions. One of the guys who's actually on my team currently in the company, he was judging one of the competitions we had like my sophomore year of high school. And when I went and we stayed in contact, he had a really great impact on me. And when I went off to college and started looking for internships, I reconnected with him and I interned there for 3 summers, and then I ended up starting working full-time as a design engineer, and then I switched to project management last year. So FIRST can really set you up for your career. They have career fairs, they have sponsorships, they have scholarships as well. So for a company or an organization who's really interested in getting exposure, looking for recruiting opportunities, FIRST is a really great place to do that because you're going to have all of these students here with similar backgrounds in the same place at the same time. And then it also sets you up for leadership opportunities. At LSU, they actually have an organization called Society of Peer Mentors, where they mentor FIRST robotics teams. So it kind of creates this this vicious cycle where you're on a FIRST team and then you stay connected with people who support FIRST, and then you become a supporter of FIRST, and then it just creates the cycle going on and on. So it just really sets you up for success there, and having those leadership skills and those soft skills that we'll get into the nitty gritty of in a little bit. And then also staying connected with FIRST. So outside of my role with Intralux, I'm the Louisiana FIRST Senior Mentor. So that means I work for FIRST Robotics. My role is I support, recruit, and sustain teams in the state of Louisiana. So doing presentations like these, or going to different STEM events, and just helping those teams continue to grow, have more team members, have more mentors, and just sustain over time, so that way we can keep this impact in our state. So when a lot of people think of robotics, you think of automation, you can automatically list all the technical skills that we think about day to day in that world, from design or coding or being able to build something, all those different things. But some of the things that go unnoticed that really apply to any person in any field would be these key skills we're going to mention here is your communication. So you have to be able to communicate with each other, with your mentors, on a team, giving presentation skills. All these things they're putting all of these skills into FIRST Robotics, where these students are having to communicate with each other. They're having to give presentations on their robot and communicate on the technical, and also in a more formal setting where they have to give formal presentations to judges. So really setting them up for long-term success there. And that ties into your teamwork, which I think we all can attest to. You know, that's not something that goes away after your group projects in high school or college. That's something that you continue to do in your career for the rest of your life. And then overcoming different obstacles too. One of the things that I think is a great testament, and I've seen this not just in myself, but also in other students that have come through these programs, is fighting through those things that we're scared of. I used to have a fear of speaking and presenting. And so by being in FIRST Robotics, you're required to communicate with other teams. You're required to give presentations. And it's in such a forgiving and open environment that it takes that fear away. And then you can grow those skills and really overcome those obstacles and grow yourself at such a young age. You know, you're doing all these things before you even go to college. And you get those leadership opportunities within your teams, whether you might be leading an awards group or an alliance, or might be a small brainstorming group. All those leadership skills come into play, and there's plenty of opportunities for everyone to get exposure to that. And then one of the biggest things too that we talk about is gracious professionalism. So that means it doesn't matter who you're competing against. It doesn't matter what's going on. We're always going to be gracious to each other. We're always going to be supporting one another, and we're always going to be professional. And you'll see that in the competitions, where if, let's say, we've had teams who their robot completely broke down, you know, a motor failed, there's a wire that it keeps coming disconnected and they can't figure out where it's supposed to go. You know, all these different things you can see in the heat of competition. Well, there'll be other teams that may not even know this team that will come together and help them have a running robot by the end of the day and get their robot on the field so they can compete. Even though they're a competitor, at the end of the day, what matters is that everyone has an opportunity to participate in whatever capacity that looks like. And so that really summarizes what gracious professionalism is. And I think that's such a great view of something that ties into a lot of company cultures that we all can really relate to when we're looking for future employees. So learning about all of this, understanding FIRST and this really awesome impact that it has on the students, I think the next thing to talk about is how can it impact our mentors and those in our career fields, and how can you get involved. So there's 3 major ways you can get involved in the state of Louisiana is through mentorship, sponsorship, and volunteer at events. Sponsorship is pretty self-explanatory. If your company or you have the funds to donate to a team or to the organization, that's always more than welcome in any amount. But we're going to really dive into the mentorship and the volunteering at events portion. So when we're looking at our teams in the state, the local teams really struggle with finding mentors within their schools. Not a lot of schools have educators who have the background in FIRST robotics or in engineering that can support. And if they do have a teacher who's willing to take on the team, it's normally one teacher. And these teams have up to 60 students. You have one teacher trying to mentor 60 students by themselves and building a robot, and that's really not enough to be sustainable. And then also with that, you might not have the funding to pay someone to come and work at these events. This is a volunteer basis. And so tying all that together, where if we don't have the people and we don't have the people with the background, then the students really aren't getting the impact that they need to have a successful season or to really get the experience. And so that's our biggest problem here is schools may have the funding to fund the team. They may have a teacher that's willing to help, but that's really not enough. We need more mentors. We need more people who are willing to take the time to work with these teams, especially in these specific areas. So you don't have to have just a technical background. Obviously, technical guidance is welcome. But if you're into event planning and you know how to plan a fundraiser or a STEM event, and that's something that is your strength, that's always welcome as well. Or maybe it's social media management, or if you're someone who has great presentation skills, you can work with the students and mentor them in those capacities as well. So there's lots of different areas that you can plug into. You don't have to have only an engineering background. Or if you have your engineering background and you just want to do something a little different and you have skills elsewhere, these are kind of all the areas that you can plug in, from technical to business to planning to working with publicity. So the easiest ways to become a mentor is to actually volunteer at a local event. You'll actually get to connect with all of the teams. Pretty much all the teams in the state come to our local events. So you'll get to meet them, see which ones maybe are in your area that you would want to connect with. You can reach out directly to local schools or connect with teams at a community event. That might be a little more difficult, but it's definitely an option on the table. Or you can contact me or some of our other Louisiana, Mississippi FIRST contacts, and we can connect you with a school who's looking for a mentor that either is in your area, or if you're interested in supporting in a very specific way, we know what teams need what type of support, so we can kind of plug you in the right place. If you're very interested in working an event, here are the upcoming events we have this year. So our biggest event is the FIRST Robotics Competition. We call it the Bayou Regional. That's at the Pontchartrain Center in Kenner. It's going to be March 30th through April 2nd. You can volunteer for all the days, one of the days, half a day. The opportunities are really flexible there. They have different positions where you could be a judge, you could have a booth where you could be handing out safety glasses or interacting with the kids, doing activities. You could be doing all of the robots have to be inspected. So you could actually do robot inspection, whether that may be controls or mechanical, whatever your expertise allows. So lots of very big opportunities there. It's our biggest competition, has 55 teams. It's international. So we have teams come from all Louisiana, all over the United States. And then we also typically have 2 to 3 teams that come out of the country. So it's a really great opportunity to really see what FIRST looks like during a competition season and all of those teams coming together. That's the event I was talking about that has the same energy as a night at Tiger Stadium. And then we also have the FIRST Technical Challenge, a qualifier on February 12th. That's probably going to be from 8 to 4. If you're looking to volunteer. And then the FIRST Technical Challenge, there's the championships after all the teams who win at the qualifier then go to the championship. That's going to be March 5th. The location is to be determined. It's normally in the Baton Rouge North Shore area. Just depends on what school is going to be hosting it that year. Awesome. So that really summarizes it. If you want to reach out to me, if you have more questions, I've included my information here below. That's my phone or my email. Either one works for me. I don't have a preference. And then if anyone has any questions or wants me to go back and revisit anything, I'll open that up now.
Great. Thanks, April. Feel free to unmute. Everybody can unmute and chat since we're using the meeting format now. If you want to ask a question, I can attest that a couple of years ago when my son was still in kind of middle school, it was just one of those things. I was like, we should build a team at this school. And I just, finally just reached out to the principal and said, we should do this. And I was kind of like nervous, and they were like, oh yeah. And the funding was there. they just never had anybody kind of step up and say, let's do this. So I always thought the money would be the hardest part, but that was actually the easiest part of the whole process. So yeah, all it kind of takes is just kind of stepping up and throwing the idea out there.
Hi, this is Arthur. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
These events that they have, are they open to the public, or what's the deal to be able to like take someone to see it? I think that would be a good first step.
Yes, they're free. They're open to the public. You're more than welcome to stop by in any capacity. You don't have to be a volunteer. So if you just want to attend and absorb and see what this looks like, you're more than welcome to attend.
Yeah, I mean, I have interest for myself as well as for my granddaughter. So if I, bring along, let her see what it's all about, as well as for me to see what it's all about. This really is pretty interesting. I hate to admit I wasn't even aware of this at all. So I appreciate you bringing this to our attention. It looks amazingly interesting.
It's definitely a great program. How old is your granddaughter?
Just about to be 6.
Okay, perfect. So if you go to here, I'll back up a slide. If you go to the first robotics competition, the Bayou Regional, the teams are going to be competing will be at the high school level, but we're doing demonstrations for her age group as well for that first Lego League that I mentioned. So she would actually get an opportunity to see what that would look like and meet other students that are participating on those teams. And maybe if y'all have questions for them of what that involvement looks like, or if there's something in your area, then that would be a really great event to attend.
Okay. And let me ask you now, did they start from scratch, or do they have like kits or something that you buy and it's kind of got all the parts that you need?
So
what level of development is needed?
Yes, so you start with a kit. Every team gets a kit, and then you'll also get different game pieces. So every year you get a new game, and they have a kickoff date, and they'll release that game to everyone in the world at the same time. And so everyone who's going to be competing for that year is going to be working on the same game and the same challenge, and they're building their robot to achieve whatever strategy they have to make the most points. And you start out with, so for the younger ones, you get a Lego Mindstorms kit, and those are pretty readily available to the public. You could probably look it up on Amazon or even their website. They run about $500 a kit. And then the teams all use that kit to build their robot. So there's instructions, but there isn't a set way of how you build your robot to achieve the goal or the strategy that you're trying to do for the competition, but everyone is using the same components. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay,
perfect. I'm just kind of wondering, how much inventing they had to do, or how much it was really more just taking something that's existing and making the best use of it.
As you progress through the programs, it gets more and more loose, I guess. So for the first, the younger groups, they have a kit that they all work from. As you progress through each program and you get older, by the time you get to the first robotics competition, which is your high school level, they start with a drivetrain kit that builds their chassis and their drive system, but then everything else they build from scratch. And they manufacture and machine it themselves. And so it does progress in the difficulty, but for the younger age groups, there is no machining. It is kit based. It's through Lego. So it's essentially a little more advanced version of Legos with motors, and there is some programming as well.
I didn't know much about Legos, and during IDA, I just happened to receive a gift from a friend. It was a Lego version of the Saturn V booster. It had 1,969 pieces, because that's the year that they landed on the moon. And I thought, well, what a dumb gift. We had so much fun putting that thing together that it was really remarkable. I have it hanging in my office. So something made from Lego has got to be fun. Now I know.
It's a lot of fun. It really is. And these kids are brilliant, especially the ones who are working with those Lego programs, because oftentimes when I go and meet with them, they're teaching me. I'm not teaching them. You really help them with forming the concepts and making their ideas come to fruition, but they do a lot of the work.
Okay. As a mentor, I mean, say you were going to help on the technical end, what sort of a time commitment would that be?
It depends on the team. Because so each team has their own schedule in which they meet. It's really how much time you want to give. If you're looking for something that's lower commitment, I would recommend that would be maybe 1 to 2 days a week for, an hour and a half to 2 hours after school in the like 3 to 5 o'clock range. Some teams meet later, but that would be something where I would, if you're going to be meeting on the lower commitment, make sure that they're not relying on you for all of their technical stuff. Like if you're the only technical mentor, that might not be the best way to set it up, because if you're only there, for an hour a week, that's not going to be enough support for their competition. But if there's other mentors there that have that technical background, that's definitely more than encouraged. But some people meet 6 days a week.
Wow.
My husband's a mentor. They are probably a little more on the advanced, like they're a little crazy. They meet 6 days a week during build season. But not all the mentors meet on that level. Some, he only goes 3 days a week. Some people go all 6, some people go 2 days a week. And then you can kind of find your niche of what works really best for you and how you can provide the most support.
Wow, 6 days a week. That's like being on a football team. I guess you have practice every day, same type of thing.
Yes, they do treat it. It's very similar to a sports mindset. So they meet after school for a couple hours, just like you would for soccer practice. They have their competitions on the weekends. The competitions are really mimicked after sports events, just to kind of give you that same vibe that you're not really missing out on anything. First kind of calls it sports for the mind. It's a little play on words there that they have, just to kind of, it's that way. It's not just, you don't have to, it's not just athletics. It's all these other things that tie into it that is still valuable as well.
Right. Yeah, the team effort and all that.
Definitely.
Okay, that's all I have.
Awesome.
April,
Yes.
this is Harold Keegan. I am part of the Baton Rouge section sitting in on this. And I have heard of FIRST before, and I've seen a few things. One of the questions I have is there a listing of the current teams in an area like Baton Rouge, or can we figure that out? One of the things I think would be very helpful for the ISA would be to be in contact with this regularly and looking towards people like yourself who have grown up in this and, being part in some instances of the ISA later on. And, where can we help with developing that? That's, in my time at ISA, the window of opportunity to get somebody to be interested in ISA itself is very small. But on the other side of it, what ISA focuses on is a small part of what the FIRST teams are doing. So a list of teams that currently exist.
Yes, so I can definitely provide you a list of teams that are currently registered in the state in a specific area that you're looking at. Like if you're looking for only teams in Baton Rouge, or we also have some teams in the Denham Springs area and St. Gabriel as well. And
Great.
so I could provide you the list of teams and their schools. I can't provide their direct contact information because of our privacy laws, but I can, let's say you tell me, hey, I'm really interested in this team, then I could connect you guys and put you in touch with them. And then another thing that jumped out at me when you're asking your question is recruiting for your organization. I can go back to my regional director and see what opportunities are there of getting you guys in touch with our FIRST alumni. because we have a
Yes.
really huge alumni network of students who've been through this program like myself, who have come back and they're mentoring or they're still working in this area. That might be a great recruitment opportunity for you guys to connect with those students as well.
That would be fantastic. I took a photograph of your contact information, and I'll send you an email
Perfect.
and give you my contact information.
Awesome.
Very good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, thanks, Harold. Thanks for joining from Baton Rouge too. Yeah, I think, hopefully, like I said, this is a kind of a good introduction and get some involvement from all of our ISA members and reach out in one way. And, we as the sections could figure out ways too. I know there's, we have some scholarship capability. So maybe we can reach out to like a first member, special ISA type scholarship, something we can kind of talk about amongst, our sections, but hopefully, just to help get the partnership going and maybe help, like Harold says, recruit for us as well a little bit. We're always looking for good young engineering talent, especially that's in the automation space. So yeah.
And y'all can also, there's tables that we have at the Bayou Regional where different companies and organizations can set up and have brochures or activities and advertise and connect with some of the students. So if that's something that y'all are interested in, especially because you're already listed as a first partner, your foot's already in the door, that might be something that y'all might want to look into in the future. That would be when you'd want to reach out to Carolyn. She would be the one who would coordinate that for you.
Okay, it sounded like we might have did that at some point in the past, and I guess it slipped over the years. So yeah, I think we need to reach out. I'll reach out to Carolyn about that, for sure.
Hi, April. This is Karen Morton. I'm also in ISA Baton Rouge. I've just not been active for a while. I have a question. You were saying that this first robotics competition, your big one that's going to be at the end of March, is that free admission for all of the days? And when would the program schedule be published?
It is, yes, it's free all of the days. On the 30th, the teams will be loading in their robots and setting up their pits. So think about like a NASCAR pit. It's a similar concept. The Thursday is a practice day, and then Friday and Saturday is going to be your main competition days. I did forget to mention that. So if you're looking to just come and view, I would recommend coming on Friday or Saturday, because that's going to be your big competition day where all of the teams are competing. So yes, it's free to the public. And I'm sorry, what was the second half of your question?
The schedule.
The
schedule, yes. It's going to be on, there. We have a website for the FRC Bayou Regional. I can follow up this meeting and send a copy of these PowerPoint slides and a link to the website, and then they will post the schedule, and they normally do it about a month in advance.
Okay, now I have a question, in talking about the program for younger kids. I don't have any kids or grandkids myself, but I have a friend who has a daughter that's about the same age as Arthur's granddaughter. And so I was going to try to put her in that direction, but then you started talking about groups having tables at the competition. So the tables would be up, like before the games start. I kind of think of it like vendor or group tables at a convention.
Yes. So and they have like a front entryway of the Pontchartrain Center before you get to the arena. And so all day long, as from the moment we open to the moment the event ends, they have those tables out in that front entryway, even during the competition. So it's not for a specific, like it's not a certain time window. It's the whole day where people can just walk in and out. Because the teams, so you're going to have 55 teams. They're all going to be competing, and every team, they're competing at different times. So people are constantly in and out because they may only be there for, it might be a parent of student on just one team, so they're only going to be wanting to watch the one match that their team is in at that time. So they might go and walk around. So there is a lot of, there isn't just a specific time. You can just kind of peruse anytime you want.
Okay,
April,
gotcha. Thanks.
April, did you have a slide in your presentation that kind of showed the different programs and the age groups for each program? I don't know, that might help to show that again, perhaps. Well, there you go.
Yes, so the ages, it's not on here, but I can also put that in the follow-up email. So your first LEGO League Junior is going to be about kindergarten to second grade. First LEGO League is going to be 3rd through 8th. First technical challenge is 7th through 12th, and first robotics competition is 9th through 12th.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, and one final, what may sound like a very stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Does somebody have to start as a young child with the first, or if they only find out about it when they're in high school, can they join a team?
You can join a team at any time. You don't have to start when you're younger. I did not start till I was 15 in high school. Some people don't start till their junior year of high school or their senior year of high school. There is no limit where if you miss the first few programs, you can't participate in the rest. No, it's open to anyone. I will say the first LEGO League has a cap of how many students can be on a team. So that might be something where some teams do have tryouts, because I think it's only 10 students per team. So that might be, you would want to get involved early on in the season. So that way, if there's any tryouts or applications that you would have to do early on before the season starts, their season starts in September, you could get your foot in the door. Otherwise, you'd either have to start a new team or wait till the next season. Not all teams do that. It would just be teams who have a really high application rate, where, you know, if you have 50 kids who want to join, but there's only 10 spots, and they may have they may have multiple teams, but they have to figure out how they're going to disperse the kids so that way they don't exceed the cap.
And you guys are nationwide?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's other, so I'm the Louisiana First Senior Mentor. There's others like me for every state. So if you're looking for someone in a different state, I can connect you with a senior mentor in that area, and then they could provide you the list of teams and connect you with the team in the school or the region that you're looking for.
Okay, this is a question directed at the organizer of the meeting. Would it be possible to share back to everybody who attended today's meeting, or at least, you know, like update the invitation that with April's information, because I didn't do a screen cap.
Oh, absolutely, Karen. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if April, if you can share this presentation or not, we can make it available, or we could share links to the first sites and stuff. But we will definitely, I'll send that out to everybody.
Yes, I don't mind sharing this presentation with you guys. You're more than welcome to have a copy, and then I can provide some additional resources and links in my contact information in the follow-up as well, so you can have access to all of that.
Great, sounds good. I will say that the team I coached was the first LEGO League, and the 10 students was one of the hardest parts. The first year we did it, we lucked out. We only had nine children, 9 kids interested. Second year, it was way over 10. So that was unfortunately the hardest part of that, was having the cap of 10 students. It was a good thing. You had more kids interested in STEM. So that's kind of the whole idea.
I know that's the hard part, is when the kids start getting really interested, then you have to find how to keep growing. And that's when you really need the mentors, because if the teams are growing and you have more and more kids interested, that's a great thing. But then when you have that one teacher trying to help 60 kids, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was chaos. All right, we'll give another minute or two for any more questions. This has been great interaction. Our audience is usually very quiet on these. Today, you've definitely got the interest level up.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. I have a question for you guys. Is there any other information that you guys would like me to send that y'all are looking for? So I have the PowerPoint, my contact information. I was going to provide more information about each first program, and then the link to the Bayou Regional competition information. Is there anything else that I could provide that might help you guys in figuring out how you want to be a part of FIRST?
I would think what you have there is a good start,
Perfect.
and we'll probably be back in touch.
Awesome. I look forward to it.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll one last call for questions, and again, we'll thank April for presenting to us today. And I think this was a great topic. We're usually very technical in our discussions, so it's nice to discuss, something like this, and maybe ways that we can help reach out and help our community and foster STEM and engineering, which is part of our mission with ISA. So I appreciate everybody for joining, and we'll send out everything. We'll send out the follow-up information here as soon as possible. So April, once again, thank you.
Thank you guys. I enjoyed meeting with you all, and y'all had some really awesome questions. I appreciate it.
Great. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody. We'll wrap it up. And don't forget, we'll be back here again next Tuesday for our February meeting. All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.